Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, and my channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. It's early in the morning, I'm taping this weekly recap and I'm in a relaxed mood. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. First of all, the weather has turned here, so it's nice and warm. How long will it last? We'll see. It's still early. It's early spring. Played some golf yesterday. The golf club. The conditions are just absolutely gorgeous. They've done some renovations. Everything's going really well. So my game was okay for one of my first few games. So I'm happy about that. We had some good company, good friends, chatted, had a nice lunch, and you know what? That's what it's all about. We got out there a little bit, get some exercise. I noticed gained a little bit of weight during the winter. Always sitting behind the desk is not good for us. So we got to get out there, and golf is my thing when the weather permits. And the other reason why I feel so relaxed is that now I got two passions to deal with, which is my fountain pen therapy, my channel, my swatching, my inks, my paper, my all the pens that I've ordered and are going to come in one at a time, and then I've got my golf game as well. And to boot it all, I had a great week of work. So you know what? That's what it's all about. We take the moments when it comes. It's not always perfectly positive, and even when it is a little bit negative, we just got to find the positive in life, right? So there you have it. In any event, I've got a great recap for you guys. Again, we're trying to keep that going. We've got some ideas. We might just, tweak the show a little bit and just introduce new things, but I'm working on that. So, but for this week, here it is, folks. Here is Fountain Pen Therapy's weekly recap for May the 18th, 2025. In the morning, taping this weekly recap, and I'm in a relaxed mood. Okay, so my first segment, as usual, we'll take a look at what's new in the market. And we'll start with Chinese pens, of course. And got a couple of interesting things that are happening in the Chinese pen market. And let's just hope the tariffs don't stand in the way, so to speak. First of all, the Asvine C80 that I think it was Chris Rapp who had first shot at reviewing one of those C80s, or three of the C80s. I don't know where they are. Apparently they're supposed to be out in the month of May. We're now May the 18th. I haven't seen them anywhere. I haven't seen them on Etsy, AliExpress. I check Amazon Canadian, Amazon American. Don't see them yet. Are they waiting for the tariff situation to kind of stabilize before releasing the pen? Perhaps. But we're still in the month of May. Apparently, they're supposed to be going up for sale in the month of May. I've asked them to send me one of those pens for review, and they told me they would. But they told me that it's going to be released in the month of May. So we've got another, 2 weeks to go. So stay tuned for that. The other thing that I wanted to mention was that there appears to be a Majon P139, you know, the big number 8 size nib pen that looks like the Hemingway model of the Mont Blanc. It looks like there's a demonstrator model out that's got a cigar shape. Again, our friend Shanghai Knife Dude, which you guys should be tuned into, has got first shot at these pens. And he showed us. This is what he showed us. Now, let me just cut to his... Where are we? Okay, yeah. This is, I believe, his Instagram account, and there's a couple of interesting things there. He takes a look at some of these where I think it's Wing Sung who has these beautiful ebonite pens, and where they get their, I guess, their ebonite itself. But here it is. This is the. Can I click this? How does that work? Oh, here we go. Look at that, what he's got for us here. He says, every time I'm moaning about the slow action of Chinese pen makers, my face was smacked the second day. I moaned about slow new releases from China in yesterday's video. Here it comes, Majon P139 Demo Torpedo. Flat top version will come later. So that's somewhere in the grind. Now, where it is, I don't know. I keep looking for it. Rest assured that the moment I see it, it's going to get ordered. So there you have. That's one thing that's very interesting. What else have I got for you? Wing Sung, that 930 is now got not only that white model that we talked about, but it's got the other models, the black and the burgundy models, in the flat top. So they're kind of doing what they did with the 630, if you will. I believe it's the 630 that they have both flat top or torpedo shaped. So that's new. That's on AliExpress and perhaps elsewhere. What else have I got for you? Yeah, this favorite pen of mine, the Ongdian T1 or the Titanium 1866, is now coming in different colors. You could see it. It's in blue. It's in this pink, I guess, or copper color. More of a light blue, kind of a purplish tint there. It's got kind of a brassy tint there. Light green, and I guess less pink, but more purple. And they come in different types of nibs as well if you don't want the Ongdian nib. So that's new. Peyton Street's got some really nice vintage pens there. Parker 75, it's got the Schaefer 46, a couple of Conway Stewart vintage pens as well. You should all be looking at these at Peyton Street almost on a daily basis. They renew what's up for sale, especially in the vintage market. I've got Casa Stilografica, della Stilografica, my friends from Florence. I've got this new pen. It's already sold out, but I'm sure it's going to be available elsewhere. The Leonardo Momento Zero Kingfisher pen. Very nice. I'm just showing this to you because the color of this resin is just very enticing. Casa della Stilografica has got a couple of Nino Marino signature pens. Take a look at this, folks. I mean, this is ebonite. Just beautiful. It's just the price. Look at that. 688 euros, which translates into little more than 700 US. And when you do the calculation in Canadian, it's almost $1,300 for this pen. It just unfortunately becomes unaffordable, which is really too bad. But I got to try to get my hands on one of these pens eventually. There you have it. That's Nino Marino. What else have I got for you? Oh, I wanted to show you North American Pen Auction Limited. They regularly have auctions. I recommend them. I've ordered pens from them before. And these are the pens that I recently bid on. I had bid on an OMAS 360 and lost. I bid on these two Schaefer Legacies, which are really, really nice, but lost both. But I did manage to win, as you see, I won these two. This one, the Legacy 2, and this one is a kind of a Legacy, I think it's Legacy 1, and it's a combination of rollerball and fountain pen. So I've got both of these, and these are coming in soon, so as soon as I get them, we will review them. Have I got anything else? Nope. That's it for what's new in the market, folks. So stay tuned for some of those pens that I will be getting. Oh, no, I wanted to show you my order list from AliExpress. Yes. I've got more pens coming. So let me just show you. Yeah. Let me cut back. Now, I'm cheating. These are two fakes or imitations. Remember this pen? I think it's the Lemon M5. I just love this pen, and I've decided to order the rollerball in this particular model. So I'm looking forward to receiving that. What else have I got for you? Let me just go back to my order. Come on. You don't want to go? Here we go. This is that fake. Oh, they've taken it away. Sorry, the page you requested cannot be found. Well, look at this. Maybe they're in trouble. But in my order, you'll see it. This is the pen that Shanghai was looking at. Here it is. It's Mont Blanc, I believe it. They actually called it that at $45. I just want to compare that to the actual thing. And we've got my Young Line 930, which is coming in. I have this Majon aluminum alloy, kind of a pocket pen. Here's that notebook that we're going to be reviewing in the new notebook that I purchased this week. Got this Kako Sky aluminum pen. I've got this Hero 10 karat gold nib pen. And I've got this other rollerball, again with a Mont Blanc imitation. Got the Majon B25. One of the viewers told me, by the way, you didn't order the fountain pen, you ordered the ballpoint. I made a mistake, folks. I ended up ordering the ballpoint instead of ordering the fountain pen, but I'll get to it eventually. These days I'm ordering rollerballs in any event, so this will come in handy. And of course, this is the Yongsheng 233 vintage, which I did receive and which will form part of what's new in Fountain Pen Studios. And we'll take a look at that pen in a few seconds. So there you have all the orders that are coming in. So lots of pens to look at in the future, and are coming to this station sometime very soon, as they say. So that's it for what's new in the market. Stay tuned for my next segment. Okay, so we're back for the next segment, and the next segment is what's new in Fountain Pen Therapy Studios. Well, I've got some new paper for you, a new notebook that I found on the internet, on AliExpress. It looks really nice, so you're going to see in a second, and I'm just hoping that it performs as nice as it looks. Got some inks to propose for you as well, and you've got a series of writing instruments as well. So without any further ado, let's take a look at the first purchase for this week, which is a notebook. Now, I'm going to switch to my computer. Here's the notebook that I purchased. I was intrigued by it. I saw it on AliExpress for $16. It had some very cool features. It's simply described as notebook A5, Imitation leather, business notebook, thick and soft leather, surface stationery. So typical AliExpress, designations and descriptions, not very helpful. But from what I understand, it's a 100-gram paper, so it's thickened. Is it going to be fountain pen friendly? I'm not sure. It sure looks friendly. So without any further ado, let's take a look at it, and we'll go to my overhead camera and see what this is all about. Okay, here it is. Now it comes in different colors. It comes in white, orange, black, gray, brown, a light blue, light green, darker green, a purple. I went with the red, and here it is. First thing you notice is that, yes, there is this, fake leather. It is quite malleable, so it's not a hard cover. I like the fact that the pages are, it bears the same color. I'm assuming the same color as the cover. At least it does with this red version. It's got a nice page divider here. It's doubled with a metal end there. Does it open? Yeah, it pretty well. Not as perfect as some other notebooks that I have. Actually, no, it does open up really flat. What's preventing it from being totally flat on the surface is what you see at the end there. You see that? So it's got kind of a backing, but the backing reveals a place to put your pen. That's the first time I've seen that. When I saw that at first sight, I just thought it was kind of a decorative corner there, and I couldn't figure out why they left this, entire space open. But I realized when I started playing around with it, I said, "Oh my God, there's a pen in there," and there you have it. I don't know what this pen is all about, but certainly you can put your own pens there. It may not accommodate the thickest, but so there you have it. I think it's an interesting notebook. It says memo and date on it. What I noticed is that the writing here kind of penetrates a little bit right through the paper. I don't know if you can see that. See that? Which it doesn't augur well for some of my inks, but I thought it was intriguing. It really, it's too bad that I would have loved to have kept this cover. Sometimes it's refillable leather cover. It would have been great, but it isn't. Notebook. Enjoy writing. Enjoy the different culture, tradition, Chinese painting. Again, that's a translation, which is not a great translation. Some Chinese tables here with all kinds of measurements, temperature, Fahrenheit and Celsius. It's got a year schedule, from what I noticed. It's got meeting, I guess you keep track of your meetings. Most of it is in Chinese there, and then you get your pages to start. So from what I gather, this is probably a meeting book where you take notes. But there you have it. I thought it was interesting for $16. Well, so we'll do some writing on this notebook. In this notebook, we'll do some swatching as well. We'll compare this to Tomoe River when I introduce the inks. Speaking of inks, that will be next. So stay tuned. I'm going to set up the ink swatching session, and we'll do some relaxing ink swatching. And I've got some great inks to propose. Here we go. Okay, so we're all set. We're going to do some ink swatching here. And here are the inks that I have for you today. Now, I've got 3 dominant industry inks. I find these inks always very, very nice. Like the bottle. The first one is I would say turquoise sort of an ink, but we'll see how it translates on paper, by the name of Lake. The next one is Earl Grey Earl Grey tea. It's kind of an orange colored, a tea colored ink. And I've got one, a green, which is forest. So those are the three that I propose for you today. Actually, you know what? We're going to throw in the fourth. We're going to do this one as well. I couldn't decide. You know what? Last minute I decided we'll do all four. Romania Red will be the fourth one. So I realized that in the past I've kind of concentrated on dark colors, and maybe it was time to just take a look at some of, lighter or different shades of ink, and I've introduced in there maybe an orange and a red as well. Now we're going to be the Tomoe River paper I'm using. These are I've shown this to you before. This is Tomoe River original paper. It's Good Ink Impressions. You'll find that in Etsy, and this is my ink swatching book. You can find them in different color, with the covers blue, orange, gray, black, etc., etc. And I have one basically for every color. So all my blues go with a blue covered notebook, etc., etc. But this one is kind of a spare that I use sometimes to just do some improvise and do some last minute swatching. And there you have it. The way it works is you've got your little square there to swatch your ink. You put your brand, you put the name, and they've added another box for date if that's your fancy. But you can put in there whatever obviously you want. And we'll put sites aside this new notebook that we've purchased. I guess we'll do that in the first page, right? We'll introduce that in the first page, and we'll put that right on top so that we can swatch as we go along. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with Romania Red. Oh, before we go any further, I've got my trusty folded pen to do my swatching, and we'll use the Kakamori brass nib. Once again, we used it last week. We're going to continue using it this week. So let's just take a sip of my espresso, and we can proceed with Romania Red. Whoop. Okay, so one thing I forgot to do, and I don't know if these should be standard inks. They're not shimmering inks, but it's always good to give it a little shake. Okay, there we go. Appears to be kind of a dark red, almost like ox blood. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, the texture goes down very differently from when you compare it to the Tomoe River. I can sense there's a lot of texture on that paper. Okay, so this is Dominant Industry. Is it Romania Red or Romanian Red? No, Romania Red. And we'll put down the date, which is May 18th, 2025. Do the same here. And you can see these Kakamori nibs you retain quite a bit dominant industry. I think I spelled that wrong. Romania Red. So far, so good. And we'll put down the date, May 18th, 2025, just for posterity reasons. Here we go. Very, very saturated kind of ink. I notice it's it kind of bled through my water right away and inked it all up. So it's a standard ink. Yeah, it's a standard ink. Okay, so next. We'll do forest next. The good news is that it's taking some time to dry on that paper, which means it's not one of these, you know. I mean, I just got some dust there from opening the bottles. Okay. So this is forest green. There we go. Okay, so swatch that up. Get some ink there. Ooh, nice green. A little bit too much. So this is called Forest. Wow, this is a really beautiful dark green ink. So very nice, must say. Okay. Hope you guys had a great week. Hope you discovered some new products, that you enjoyed your journaling, and you know, your fountain pen therapy. This is the Earl Grey, so I'm looking forward to this one. Yeah, it's got kind of a tea-ish orange there. Yeah, very nice orange. The type of orange that you can probably write with. You know, there's a lot of these inks are meant more for artists than they are for fountain pens per se, and, you know, daily writing. Would I hesitate to, you know, write at the office with an orange? No, I wouldn't. Personally, it would just replace the red, frankly. And you know, people at the office know that I'm a fanatic for inks and fountain pens, etc. So they're used to it. If they see some document going by with some funky ink, they know it's from me. Here we go, and it's Earl Grey tea, and it's me. There we go. I think I didn't ink this as much as I did the others, but in any event. So far, so good. I'm really curious to see how this paper reacts on the other side. But yes, it's got some texture, but you know, nothing different than Midori, for example, has texture. Earl Grey tea. Where am I here? Okay, May 18th. Yeah, so far, and it, you know, it's taking its time to dry. I had my doubts, and maybe, you know, will either be pleasantly surprised or kind of confirmed some original suspicions that may be unfounded, hopefully. The next one I have for you is Lake. This should be kind of a turquoise. Whoop. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, it's kind of a light blue turquoise color. Ah, yeah, very nice. More on the green than it is on the blue, which is a nice variety. You know, these days I'm just going head over heels over light blue or turquoise inks, so this might fit nicely. Yeah, you guys got a bonus. You got 4 inks this week. My pleasure. There's actually a dominant industry notebook that I recently saw being sold. I might get that notebook as a weekly feature, and maybe we'll swatch more dominant industry inks as well. Maybe that's an idea. We'll think about that. There you go. So far, so good, folks. Some vibrant colors, which beats the last week. I think I had kind of a dark brown. By the way, that dark brown Baroque just did not work out for me all week. Very dry ink. I don't recommend it. Where is it? I think I've got it here, not too far away. Yeah, this was the one. Kind of a, or was it this one or the other one? I don't have it too far. No, it's this one. I think it's, call it Caviar. Just too dry for me. Too dry for me. Okay, so there you have it. So far, so good. Why don't we let this thing all, or these two, dry up, and we'll see what kind of results we get. I'm really anxious to see what's on the other side of this paper. We'll clean up a little bit, and we'll be right back. Okay, this is as patient as I will be. As usual, the Tomoe River takes a little bit longer to dry. This Chinese notebook paper is completely dry. Let's take a look at the colors. First of all, the Romania red, yeah, it's a very dark. It's got some brown sheening that's come out there that I see, and that's also reflected in the writing, if you will. Forest green is, I think the camera doesn't do justice, at least what I'm seeing. It's a little lighter than it actually is. It's actually, darker green. It's got some bluish and reddish sheen there, and it's got some interesting shading as well, but very, very nice color. I like that green. And the Earl Grey tea, did not disappoint. Nice orange, just a little bit of sheening there with some darker shades. And then you've got the Lake, which is a kind of a turquoise, more on the greenish than on the bluish side, but it's a turquoise. So there you have it. Very nice inks. We're going to swatch some pens with that ink, and we're going to do some writing later on in the currently ink segment. Here's what I see on this notebook. Very interesting so far. Again, I'm very curious to see what I see on the other side. You don't get the same, variety in terms of shading and sheening. The dominant green color is you can definitely see it. You can see a little bit of the red sheening where it's a little thicker. The Romania red, I got to give it. You could still see that brown sheening come out. Some interesting shading with the Earl Grey, but again, I think the orange, the colors are much more vibrant on this paper than they are in the Tomoe River. You don't see the variety in terms of shading and sheening, but the punch is there. Take a look at the difference with Lake. Much lighter on the Tomoe River than it is on this paper. So here's the real test. Let's turn this over and see what gives. Wow, folks, a lot much better than I would have thought. Got to tell you, yes, there is some bleed through on the swatches, but take a look at the writing. I mean, you can hardly see any ghosting. When you compared that to Tomoe River, which is, take a look at that. I mean, there's plenty of bleed through. I even have some bleed through here in the inks, and definitely see ghosting, which is to be expected from Tomoe River, and that's something you got to live with, so to speak. Oh, I botched that up there, but that's fine. But here, so far so good. Does it give me a good writing experience? I'm not sure. Some of my viewers, or particularly my two viewers, didn't like Tomoe River paper. What I tried to explain to them in terms of my point of view is, yeah, they don't dry up quickly. There's a lot of ghosting in Tomoe River, but it's the writing experience that is fascinating with Tomoe River. When you write with your pen just it's just so much smoother on Tomoe River, the original anyway, than it is on some of the other papers, but not so smooth that you're fighting with a coated paper like a Clairefontaine, for example, or Rhodia. So, but you know what? So far, I'm really enjoying this notebook. We're going to have to give it kind of some objective, how I'm going to use this notebook, but I'm sure I'll find something. But we'll do some writing with the pens we swatched and take a closer look at that paper. But there you have it. So that's the fountain pen ink swatching, or fountain pen therapy ink swatching therapy for you for this week. I'll be right back with the next segment. Okay, so for my next segment, we'll take a look at what's new in the fountain pen studios in terms of writing instruments and maybe other accessories. And let's take a look at, first of all, some accessories. And I want to make sure I have it here handy here. So we'll go to my overhead camera. Just a little tidbit that I thought I'd share with you. Okay, here we go. I've had this little case in my office for a while, and I don't remember if I actually showed it to my viewers, but I believe that these things are available once in a while. I'm gonna leave a link in the description if I can find it. It's an Dieman box. And take a look at that. It's got a kind of a 3-pen, bed there. And I use this in my office where you have 12 pens. So rather than take out my 12 pen case all the time, I choose my 3 pens for the day, so to speak, and I lay them in there, and they're sitting in my desk at all times. A little bit dirty here, sorry for that. But yeah, I thought that this was an interesting little box. So if I can find it, they're not always available, but if I can find it and provide you a link, I will do so. So that's a little tidbit just in terms of accessories for you. Then in terms of writing instruments, what have I got for you? Well, why don't we start with, as you know, I've had a recent fascination for roller balls, and I found this, and I thought I'd go with it. Now, I always have a hard time opening this thing up. Let me just go off camera for a second. Here we go. It's from a company by the name of Ridge. It's a bolt action pen. It's in the navy color that I chose it. Here it is. So, carry less, live more. Kind of a Ridge bolt action pen. Here it is. I thought it was interesting and a little bit different from other bolt action pens that I thought were, I think this is one of the more prettiest ones. Nice clip. How does that bolt action work? Works really nice. Is it sharp here? It's a little sharp, but nothing intrusive. Nice little finial there for R for, I guess, R for ridge. A little star. It accommodates, I think it came with a Schmidt. I'm not sure. Let me just open that up for you. Yeah, Schmidt. This is a Schmidt. They usually give you, yeah, Easy Flow 9000M. So it's a medium. There you go. Very nice. Now we'll do some writing with this. Sorry about the ink on the fingers there. We'll do some writing with this because it's going to go into my, weapons for next week, and we'll do some writing with this pen later on, so that we don't duplicate things. But it does appear to be very comfortable. I really like the color on this pen. It's aluminum alloy, so very nice, and welcome addition to my rollerball fascination, or recent fascination. In any event, we'll put that back in here. We won't close that up because I have a hard time opening that box. We'll put that aside. So that's for the rollerball for this week. What do we got here? Okay, these two are really nibs as opposed to pens. Well, although this pen did come with the nib, but we'll get to that in a second. And we've got these two similar pens. Now, for this one here, I want to show you the description on... Yeah, so here it is. It's the Yongsheng. Now, I don't know if that's a variety on Wing Sung. 233 vintage fountain pen, fine nib, classic design, smooth. So this is what it looks like. I was intrigued by the nib. So so that's the first pen that's on my table. And that's that one right there. So this is the Yongsheng 233. I don't think I'm going to do a separate review on this pen. It was $21.58. Yongsheng, kind of similar to this one, and we'll take a look at this in a second. This is a Schaefer Imperial. I finally got a Schaefer Imperial, and I've got some Schaefer legacies coming. So there you have it. A little bit nice shiny cap, just ordinary barrel. But what really caught my eye was that nice nib. Little too fine for my taste. We'll do some writing with this in a second. But still, for people who like fine writing or a fine line, very nice. There you have it for $21. This is the, as I mentioned, the Schaefer Imperial. Finally got an Imperial. Very nice, good condition. I think this is used. I'm not even sure that Imperial still exists. And again, fascinating nib. And we will take a look at, that's an 18 karat nib, by the way. It's got a little bit of a point there, a little bit. Again, very fine, but, posts really nicely, and becomes a very, very interesting pen, especially if you enjoy a finer line. By the way, this one also, I believe, posts, posts very, very comfortably. And I guess you can compare it to the Pilot ES 95, and maybe we will do so in some of the writing samples that we'll take a look at in a second. Now, these two are, in fact, nibs from Sanjay, and I will leave description of his Instagram account. I ordered two nibs. One was a major disappointment, and the other one is very nice. He also added in this pen, and there's that nib. It's a flex nib, and we'll do some writing with that. Now, that's the one I like. This one here, I had great hopes for. Of course, this is an Asvine V126 that I added in the nib. There's that nib. Now, that's the one I was really hoping would turn out. It's kind of a broad extra flex, but it's such a noodle that it's practically useless. Can't really write with it. Maybe it's meant for people who can do calligraphy and have a better knowledge of how to operate these very, very flexy nibs. But here again, so we'll take a look at this, we'll take a look at that, we'll do some writing samples. I want to compare that one with the Mag 600, which I really enjoy, and maybe we'll compare this one to the Fountain Pen Revolution Ultraflex, because it is very, very similar, and maybe others. So those are the purchases that I received for this week in terms of writing instruments. We'll put those down. We'll set up a notebook, and we'll do some interesting writing just to see how these 4 instruments, along with my Ridge rollerball, how they perform on paper. There you have it. Be right back. Okay, so we're back, and we're going to do some writing with these brand new pens that we just acquired. This is the Yongsheng 233, so let's see how this nib writes. Looks really pretty. Okay, so this is Yongsheng 233 vintage. I can tell you that it's a fine nib, but it's not the smoothest. Without being scratchy, it just kind of doesn't flow. And I think I have Konpeki in here, so I don't believe that the ink has anything to do with it. There you go. So thin, but the flow is a little bit suspect. So that's this pen, but it writes a nice fine line. Let's see what this Schaefer Imperial does. This is the, can never spell Schaefer, but Imperial. I don't like the feeling of this cap. It kind of slips here. Just right here. It just slips on me for some reason. I don't understand why. There's an 18 karat nib. Wow. Not a nice feeling. Again, not sure, but I think it's no, this is, yeah, I think it's Konpeki again. I think that's the way you spell it. A little bit smoother than the Yongsheng. But, you know, people have been raving about this pen, indicating that it's like just, you know, the next best thing to sliced bread. But frankly, I don't see that. Not immediately anyway. Again, it's kind of struggling to write a line here without being scratchy. Not the greatest writing experience. Why don't I put this aside? Let's open up this notebook, this Chinese notebook, and see how. I suspect it's going to be even worse on this paper, but maybe not. You know what? It's not. Yongsheng 233 vintage. Not bad at all. In terms of writing experience, I can tell you. I think we can find a use for this notebook. Let me give it one more try. I just don't understand what's going on here. But, yeah, it's kind of slips everywhere. Weird feeling. Never had a feeling like that with a capped pen. Look at this. It just slips. Oh, awful. It's not bad, you know, folks, on this paper. You know, these nibs may just be a function of the fact that they're fine, and that I'm not the greatest fan of fine nibs, but I've got to tell you, compared to some of my, my more expensive pens, there is a difference. Even the young Dieman fine is a little bit smoother in my view. Okay, I wanted to show you these nibs. Now, here's the first one. This is the disaster. Now, take a look at the noodle here. Do you see that? I mean, it's just, look, it just doesn't write. It's just, I don't know if the nib is sprung, but this is not writable. I mean, if I guess maybe I need to know what I'm doing, but look at the ink it puts down. It's just not practical, I don't know what to make of this pen or this nib. I mean, there's no way. I have to almost kind of slowly get the ink going, and then the ink comes out, and you can't really do anything with it. So I'm not happy with this. This is, and if you take a look at it, it kind of bent there. You see there? There's kind of a little bent right there. Is it because it's just too much of a noodle, and that feed can't keep up? By the way, I replaced the feed. It had believe it or not, it had an ebonite feed, and it was keeping up even less than this. Is it because the ebonite feed needs another groove? I am not sure. This one, on the other hand, let me just see, is there any ink in here? Yeah, there is. This one, you see that? It's got a nice spring. This one is much better. I mean, in this paper, there is a kind of, then it railroads on you once in a while. But that's not bad. If I do it on my Tomo River paper, just too finicky for my taste and my belief. It works sometimes, it doesn't work other times. You see here now it railroads. It may be a function of the way I'm using this pen, and maybe I just don't know how to use it. And you got to go nice and slow. It does have that spring, but and then you see just scratchy right there. I think you have to know what to do with it, and I just don't know what to do with it. So, I mean, compared to the Ultra Flex from, no, I mean, no. I'm sorry, but doesn't pass my test anyway. But maybe somebody else who knows what they're doing with, kind of calligraphy, flex calligraphy, can make some use of that pen or that nib, but I can't. So there you have it. Those are those Now let's just test while we're at it, this Ridge rollerball is a little bit slippery. Yeah, a little slippery on the fingers, but very smooth rider to the point where I just can't control it. You know, folks, rollerballs are nice, but nothing beats the experience of a fountain pen. But it's nice to have. My fingers may be a little too slippery right now. I'm coming from outside from a golf game, and maybe the hands are just not in the right frame of mind, so to speak, but they're still holding a club, in other words. But it is kind of slippery right there. You know what? I'm going to go out, just going to go to the toilet and wash my hands once again, and maybe just put some humidity in them and see what gives. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. You know, typically I do these videos in segments whenever I can, starting from Friday. I taped some of it earlier this morning, then I went and played a golf game and came back. So I just kind of washed my hands to kind of get just the hands a little more sticky. But you know what? It's the same thing. It is very, very slippery. And this notwithstanding, this kind of, you know, pattern there, it's still pretty slippery. Although the hands now are a little bit more, you know, a little more humid. Let's see on this paper. This is that Chinese paper. Oh yeah, writes really nice. Should put rollerball therapy, but you know what I mean. Let's look at the other side of this. Yeah, look at this. Very nice. Even with that inky, you know, flex nib that caused a mess everywhere, still performed fairly well. So you know what? We just have to find a use for this beautiful notebook and take it from there. Let me just kind of, yeah, see if this fits. I'm sure it does. There we go. Okay, well, there you go. The clip, not, well, yeah, that kind of fits there. But that clip is very stiff. Let me just see if I put in this Asvine, which is a little bit bigger. Yeah, you see the Asvine will have a hard time fitting. So it is meant for thinner type of pens like this one. But there again, yeah, there you go. So for a thinner pen, and you know, it's nice and flexible. So I'm sure we'll find some very good use for this notebook. And there you have my purchases for this week. So stay tuned for my next segment. Okay, so for my next segment, let's take a look at currently inked. What have I got inked for you this week? Here they are. This is what I had taken to the office, and we'll keep this notebook handy, and we'll write some more. I like this notebook. For 16 bucks, very nice. Okay, here we go. So what do we got? Well, we've got my, first of all, I have my Mont Blanc ball pen, or ball pen. Ballpoint? No, that's the pencil. So this is the currently inked. And that was for the week of May the 11th, 2025. And of course I got my Mont Blanc pencil. It's a 146 pencil. And it's a number 9 sized, or 0.09, I think they refer to it, for the lead. So that's the pencil. Whoops. The ball pen, as I called it, but it's more it's the ballpoint. Ballpoint. Okay, 146. And this is, I think, a medium Mont Blanc refill. Very smooth on this paper, I got to tell you. Very, very, very impressed. For, I didn't have much to expect. Did I fill this pen? Because at one point it was empty. Let me just see. Didn't use it. This is the Mont Blanc. Yeah, it's filled. This is the Mont Blanc 149, that medium nib. Folks, yeah, I say this every time, but, you can say all you want about Mont Blanc, but when you start to write with it right away, you notice that there is some quality to these pens. By the way, I did a big no-no, and you will all forgive me. Shanghai Knife Dude posted a picture, or just a quick posting. I'm not sure I saw it on YouTube or one of his blogs, where he saw this amazing fake of a Mont Blanc pen being sold. I think I found it on AliExpress, and I ordered it because I want to compare it to this. Apparently, it's a really good imitation. So you guys will forgive me, but I just want to show you what can be done, so to speak. Okay, so that was the Mont Blancs. And, I usually carry some conservative type pens just for around the boardroom, if I need to impress anybody, that sort of thing. So there you have it. This is speaking of Mont Blanc imitations, let's see if it writes, because I didn't write with this all week. There you go. So this is Majon X1. It's the fine nib. But let me tell you, folks, for those of you who had bad nib experience with this pen, I didn't write with this all week. So there's no drying issue. Maybe the extra fine is a little too extra fine, but this fine writes nicely. It's that new version of the Moonman nibs. So maybe if you got an older style of this pen with the old versions, it may not be as good a writing experience. I find this little pen a lot of fun. I'm in correspondence with that viewer who wants to send me the real thing so I can compare. So hopefully we will be able to make arrangements with the viewer, and I can get that, and be a fun thing to do is compare the two. Now, folks, this T1, this is the Ongdian T1, and you saw that now they have different colors. I mean, this is just a gorgeous pen. I think I'm going to leave it again for next week, although I have a little plan for next week. So this is the Ongdian. Look at that. Let's see if it sings. Put the camera, not the camera, the microphone close. Yeah, very nice. What a beautiful pen. And you know, the other one slips, this doesn't. Not at all. And it's just, the feel is just perfect. Speaking of Dieman, remember last week I had bought this, or introduced to you this rollerball. So this is the Dieman. And I can never remember the name of this pen. My apologies. The Light of Hope. And this is a rollerball. And again, this is aluminum alloy, doesn't slip. Compared to that Ridge that I just showed, doesn't slip at all. Much cheaper, I can tell you too. This thing is much, much cheaper than that Ridge. I did keep this one because I just love this pen. This is the Vincenzo signature. But it's got a broad rollerball refill. Now, some of you asked me, how, you know, I see the Zentos, but I don't see them with the broad. No, the Zentos come, I think this one, the silver colored one comes with .038, I believe. The black one comes with .5. But I replaced those very thin lined refills with this, which is a Uniball Signo UMR-80. So I repeat, Uniball Signo UMR capitalized -80. So there you have it. I signed some letters with this. Didn't do much writing, but I did sign some letters with it. So there you have it. This one, I just didn't write with this all week, really. Neither did I use this one either, but just for the fun of it, let's just see if this 1866 still writes. So this is the Dieman. Oh, there you go. Now, dry it up on me. So we'll skip that. What about the other one? Forget the number of this thing. And unfortunately, this is one of the few Dieman pens that doesn't have the code or the model number on it. Now, let me just see if this writes. Not bad. Not bad. Just a little bit of hard start there. And this is the China knot design. Yeah, a little dry. Just a little dry. It's skipping on me there. But again, I did not use this all week. What do we have on this other side here? This is the Kegaloo. I mean, these Kegaloo nibs. I had to re-ink this pen. Just given that I used it so much. And it's a gusher, so the ink doesn't last too long. But take a look at this, folks. I mean, this is just beautiful, beautiful. If you like a thick gusher of a nib that is smooth to boot, and so far this paper is really, really nice. I gotta tell you. Oh, this is that Baroque Caviar, which is a total disaster. Let me see if it writes. Is this the Rosetta? Yeah. This is, look at this. Just dried up on me. Garbage. Sorry. Not going to use that ink ever again. This is Baroque again, but let me see if it writes. And this is the another Kegaloo. You see? Kegulu, I forget, I said the 316 or the 356. I forget the model number. But again, this is the Baroque ink. And very nice. Now, is the other one because of the nib? Perhaps. I doubt it. There you go. Very nice. So those were the pens or the writing instruments that I used last week. So why don't we put this like this? And what we'll do is we'll show you what we're going to use next week. Be right back. Okay, so for this week, the monsters are going to be the next weapon. These are my kind of, maybe I'm missing a few, but these are most of my giant pens. Got a bunch here from Ranga. These are all the Ranga ones. And this one's the Mammoth 9, I believe they call it, from Canwright. And these, of course, are my recent 930s from Wingsong. So that'll be my weapons. Those will be my weapons for next week. The challenge will be to find a pen case that fits all those. So stay tuned for that. I think I found the answer. So again, we'll use this notebook. I'm really enjoying this notebook. And let's just see if these pens write. If they need to be inked, we'll test them now and see if they leak. So far, this is the wing. Whoop. And again, I haven't written with this for a while. But look at this. Junlai. $9.30, and this is the broad. Very nice. Totally satisfying writing experience with these pens. Very, very nice. Now, you know, one of my viewers, I think, misinterpreted my criticism of these pens. My criticism is not the writing experience, it's not the look, it's not the nib. It's just my own personal situation is such that I'm not sure that that big pen or that big section, the way it's shaped, for me, is conducive to long writing sessions. I don't believe so. I believe that, for some short notes for me, I think that will be okay. Is this fine? Yes. So this is the fine. But I don't think I'd be able to comfortably have long writing sessions with that. Now, this one, this Canwright Mammoth, I've put in the dominant industry Romanian red that we swatched earlier. So let's see how it writes. Look at this nib. So this is, again, very sticky. This ebonite is very, very sticky. Stay there. Okay, so this is the Canwright Mammoth. I think it's the Mammoth 9. That's what they call it. And it's got the dominant industry. Romania red. Very nice. Let me just close up. Yeah, so you get very nice red. So that'll be my red pen for you, because as you know, I always have a red pen or red ink pen in my weapons. So we've done these two. We'll put those aside. This one here is again a huge pen, but it's you see the flare that this has? That makes it, despite or in spite of its huge size, because of that flare, and just slightly smaller right there in terms of girth, I can write with this pen for a long time. That's the difference. This one here, so this one here is a Ranga, and you'll forgive me, I forget the model number. This is a Ranga giant pen, okay? And it's cracked ice. It's the acrylic or the resin. And this one has the dominant industry. Lake. Very nice ink. Going to enjoy that this week. What else have I got? Okay, this one is maybe not as long as the other pens. It's another Ranga. Abhimanyu, I think, is the model, if I pronounce that properly. Whoa, it's leaking. Was it leaking? Oh, maybe it's just some water because I had washed this pen and I didn't dry it up properly. This is another Ranga. Now, I don't know, Abhimanyu, Niu, I think it is. You'll forgive me. Abhimanyu, and it's got the dominant industry. And this is the forest. It's got that Schmidt nib, so you can hear it a little more as compared to the other one, the other two pens that had Yowo nibs. So let's just push that aside. But again, very, very nice. So I'm going to enjoy this these inks this week. Then what have I got? I've got this other one. Another Ranga, I think they call it the number 5 model 5, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just, otherwise I'll correct that. So that's the Ranga model 5. Again, you see the flare? Just, it's probably just as thick here as the 930s, but it goes down a little bit, not as girthy, and then it's got that huge flare, and it just so conducive to long writing sessions. And take a look at this ink. It's just beautiful, especially with this 1.5 Yowo nib. Folks, I really like this notebook. Dominant industry, and this is Earl Grey tea. Good. So I'm going to enjoy this as well. Let me just write fountain pen therapy with this. Very nice. Folks, I like this notebook. I really like this notebook. Very, very nice. Okay, so that's the 4 inks. This one, it's just been inked for a while. Again, this is another Ranga giant pen. I forget what they call this one again. I apologize. Ranga, whatever it is, giant pen, for lack of a better word. And this one, I don't know what the ink is. It's a nice brown ink, but I can't tell you which one it is. It's been inked for a while, but very nice. Another giant pen. And we've got another one here, and this time it's got a Bach number 8 size nib. So this is, again, another Ranga. Is it Superior? It starts with an S. I just can't remember. But again, another giant pen. But this one's got a Bach titanium. And is it a broad? I forget, but I think it's a broad. Isn't that nice? I forget what this purple ink is, but I can almost, I would swear that this is one of the Dieman inks, but I could be wrong. There you go. Okay, so now that we have all these pens, the challenge, let me just back up a little bit here so you could see this a little bit better. The challenge is to find a pen case that fits these. This is the one that I use all the time, but as you can see, it won't close. Okay? So that won't do. Let me just see what else I've got. I do have this type, but again, it won't fit. Okay, and most of the others, maybe this, yeah, this one would fit, but barely. Okay, barely, and I don't like the fit. Okay, it's going to stick out, and you risk cracking the pen. So this one won't do. Then I have this Easterbrook pen case. Let's see if this works. Now, the 930 won't go, and if the 930 doesn't go, then the others are even bigger, won't fit. So this Easterbrook won't fit. Now, of course, I'm just teasing you because I know what I think will accommodate these, and here it is. It is a rickshaw. I never used this thing, and I thought I'd put it to some use. It's beautiful, by the way. Very well done. It's soft, and then you just roll it all up. So let's see if this one can accommodate. First of all, there's not 12 pens, so I'm not going to be carrying any roller balls or pencils for this week. So this one here, which is smaller, fits very nicely. Let's see if this one fits. Yeah, just barely, but it fits. Does this one fit? Barely, but you see, because it's material, it's okay. I don't think it'll, not close. So far, so good. Let's put this mammoth. This guy's the biggest one, I think. It's just as big as the other Angos. And the 930s would fit perfectly, as you can see. So in terms of girth, fits very nicely. And so then all you need to do is really, how does this go? I think it goes this way. You see, because it's material, even if it's a little bit bigger, no big deal. And then you kind of wrap this thing up, I guess. I haven't used this much. I think I've never used it. I've never brought it to work or used it for B-roll in terms of, did some video with that. But that's it. There you go. Very nice. Everything's kind of tucked away there, nice and safe. I throw this in my bag, and it'll work just fine for next week. And I get to use these huge pens that, I never get to use at work because of their size. If you guys have any other pen cases to suggest for these big pens, please do. I know I asked a question before, and some of you did recommend these rickshaw or different types modeled of this kind of, I guess they're pen cases, but here they're pen sleeves. But very nice, protects it very well. No, I don't anticipate having a problem with these. So, you know what? That's it for this week. So let's take a little B-roll so that I can put that picture in my thumbnail. Okay? We'll be right back with the next segment. Okay, so for my next segment, YouTube reviews. What have I got to suggest for you, and what do I have in my pipeline in terms of videos that will be published next week, and that have been published this week? So first of all, YouTube reviews that I recommend. One thing I've noticed, I don't know if you guys, or maybe it's just my list of YouTube reviews or YouTube reviewers that I'm subscribed to, but I noticed that more and more reviewers or influencers are reviewing Chinese pens. I know you get a big dose of Chinese pens on this channel and on other channels. You have Chris Rapp, that's probably the Chinese pen reviewer of all time. And you have others. Inquiry Minds does a lot of Chinese pens as well. But now I noticed that some reviewers that have never touched Chinese pens before finally discovered them years later. And they're reviewing pens that, that I've reviewed months and maybe even years ago. And I think, you got some Andean pens thrown in there. The Wing Sung 930 has attracted some attention. You've got Jinao's, you've got pocket pens, you've got Asvine pens. So, you know what? I think they're finally, in my view, these Chinese pens penetrated the market, so to speak. And maybe at the wrong time because of the tariffs. But, tariffs are now, looks like, well, at least for the next 90 days, may be somewhat under control. And hopefully there'll be, a kind of truce there between the two countries. We're a little more fortunate in Canada, but I know that some of my American friends have complained about prices due to the tariffs, and hopefully that will go away. It'll go away soon. But as I said, even with the tariffs, these Chinese pens are worth every penny. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. So that's one thing that I've noticed, and I'm not going to go show you all the YouTube reviews that review Chinese pens this week, but there's quite a few. The next thing is my friend Shanghai Knife Dude did a full review of the new Wing Sung 690, that white version that's dedicated to the Pope, and I forget his name, but you see it on the thumbnail that I'm showing you. So that's a nice pen. I'm looking forward to receiving it. It's been ordered. He does a very nice review. It shows what's a little bit different from that pen. And as I've shown you in the new pens in the market, there appears to be that flat top is also getting some attention there. So there you have that. I stopped there for a while because I think I said the 690. It's not the 690. It's the 930, and it's a beautiful white pen. And the 930 now has come out with a flat top version, as we saw in the opening segment of this recap. What else have I got? I've got Inquiring Minds that reviewed his friend's Murray is one of his fountain pen pals who once in a while lends him pens for him to review. He's got a beautiful collection, this Murray fellow. He too is an attorney, by the way, as I am, and he reviewed the Waterman Edson. Now I got to tell you, the Waterman Edson, it's actually Hemingway Jones is kind of convince me. He convinces me every week because that's the pen he uses almost now exclusively, for weeks now. And I don't blame him. It's a grail pen for me right now. It is very expensive, hard to find, used because there are none brand new. And I'm just looking for the right price to pull the trigger at the right time when the budget will permit. But that is one of my grail pens in the hunt. The other one is the original Omas 360. It too difficult to find at a reasonable price. And then, of course, I've got my Pilot Custom Urushi, the big one, as they call it, in that vermilion red. That's always on my mind. Those are my three grail pens that keep me up at night, so to speak. What else have I got for you? Oh, I discovered this new reviewer by the name of Dieman. I guess it's Dieman Dual Pen. And he's a specialist in handwriting. And I'm showing you this video, and it's got, thousands of views, where he teaches us the Palmer method. And I noticed that this method of writing is very similar to what Shaq MD has got to show us in terms of how Shaq does his exercises, to exercise his handwriting, which, by the way, I've noticed that from the beginning, maybe 2 years ago that I discovered Shaq, and today there's an improvement there, and you can tell he's practicing. It's now, I think he's mastered it. And it's very similar to this fellow's method. So there you have it. For those of you who are interested in how to write cursive and different types of cursive writing, this channel, I think, will be a resource channel for all of us. So there you have in terms of YouTube videos that I would recommend. On my part, of course, take a look at my weekly recap for May the 11th. Some interesting stuff there. Put up the thumbnail. I also this week reviewed the Cypress G10. Didn't get a lot of views. I don't know why you guys don't. You've got to look at the Cypress pens, folks. Do not miss out on Cypress. As one viewer told me, when I recommend that you go watch, just go on their website. They've got pens with all kinds of price points. And they've got their own in-house nibs. And I don't know why this video didn't do well. I've got to tell you, I cannot stop recommending Cypress. And they're not sponsoring me. They haven't sent me any pens. I've bought and purchased with my own money every single pen that I own. I really recommend that you, at the very least, take a look at their website. And as one viewer said, because their website, you can spend an hour in that website. You've got all kinds of materials, models, very original, Taiwanese, very well and reasonably priced. The pen gets to you really, really quickly, great service, and they have in-house steel or in-house gold nibs, 14 karat and 18 karat with a little bit of a spring. So in any event, that's Cypress. What have I got for you in store for next week? Well, I'm showing you a bunch of thumbnails here. I haven't quite decided. There may be the Mahjong collection video might get on next week, depending on whether I receive. I've ordered 3 or 4 Mahjong pens that I would like to add to that collection video before I publish it. So if I receive those this weekend, or sometime soon, early next week, and I can add them in, then maybe that Mahjong collection video will make its scene. If not, here are all the choices that we have. I'm going to put them all up, and one of those will get published this Wednesday at 9, and maybe even 2. So there you have it in terms of YouTube reviews. Stay tuned. So there you have it for this week. Another weekly recap. I hope you've enjoyed it. Just noticed a little bit longer than I would have wanted to. We had 4 inks. We had a couple of more pens to deal with, but hope you enjoyed that. And folks, enjoy the weather. If you play golf, get out there. If not, walk. Let's get some exercise going. We fountain pen therapists are constantly writing and in our studios and getting that therapy going, but we need to get a little bit of exercise, folks. Anyway, I'm speaking for myself. Take care. Subscribe. If you like the video, thumbs up or the bell or whatever it is that gives me gets the algorithm going. Any suggestions, questions, folks? You want to see something? Put it down in the comments and we will try to accommodate. Ciao.